first thing you deal with is people thinking that just because you're young, you don't know what the hell you're doing. And in reality, it's not necessarily about how old you are, it's about the life that you've lived during that time. You could be someone that's 20 years old and live more life than someone that's 45 because of the action you've taken in your life. So I think when you're able to present yourself well, not only necessarily in terms of appearance communication, but in terms of the work that you get done, you'll earn your respect a lot faster as a buyer or even just a seller or just a representative when you're working in this real estate industry. When you're buying stuff as an investor, that you'll be fine. So I think it's mostly sharpening your communication skills, being in a position where you go, have the right contacts so people don't even necessarily look at your age, they just look at the value that you can provide. And once you get past that, you're smooth. In terms of things that you deal with on the personal side, it's mostly just people not believing in the things you're doing and being in a situation where they give you their opinion. But I think if you're at a state where you're already investing into real estate, you're doing your own thing, you really could care less about someone's opinion. When it comes to legalities, the only thing that you will face as an issue that I've faced is there's compliance on some loans that you get that you need to be 21 if you're working with certain lenders because of different products they have. I have my business partner Alex who runs this with me, but he's in a situation where he's over 21 years old. So I don't even care about the fact that, I'm not 21 to sign on DSCR loans or be in a situation sign under the entity, because that's what we do. He signs under the entity as a representative. But those are really the only legalities you're gonna have to face. There's some products where you don't need to do that. There's also some products where you're 18, you'll be fine. But in terms of buying in your 20s, it's necessarily something that seems so scary at first, but once you knock it out the first time and you deal with all the bullshit, you really don't care anymore. And it's simply just a matter of rinse and repeat. I think one of the biggest things that held me back was the idea of the fact that I'm not buying in my own state. So I was saying, what am I gonna do? I can't see it. But when you have the right guidance, you have the right mentorship, the right connects, you don't even need to go. And it's also a matter of perspective. If you're in a situation where you don't see this house, you don't have emotional attachment to it, so you treat it like a business, obviously an asset. You're buying. So what do you think you would scale faster with? Something that you have emotional attachment to, that you treat like a home, or something that's an asset, something that you purchase and you're just rinsing and beating, boom, 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 boom. What do you think is gonna scale faster? You know what I'm saying? The biggest constraint that I always had was being in a situation where no one else had done this before me. I didn't have a father figure in my life. Never really had that. Never had any people that were real estate investors. People buy houses, like to live in them. But what I learned very fast once I had people that I knew struggling to make their mortgage payment was that if your house is not paying you money, then it's not a house. It's not an investment. It's actually a liability, because you having it under your entity, having it under your name, if you don't make your payment and you default, you're done. Like, you are done. Because one, you have a foreclosure, and it's also going to be on your report for 7 years unless you get it removed, and you're not going to be able to buy a house for a minute, right? So when you're buying in your 20s, I would say just don't let your age be a limiting constraint of what you do, and think that you're in a situation where you can't do it just because you're not 30 years old, 40 years old. Because when you set timeline-based goals, you either one, undercut them and you think too short term and you end up shooting yourself in the foot, or you think too long term and you end up doing nothing and you miss out on this opportunity. I know some people that have so much more money than me, but they're thinking to themselves, oh, well, I can't buy real estate until I'm 25, until I'm 35, until I'm 40. But what in this game of life tells you that? Who? And I think if you really think to yourself, who is giving me the information that I'm getting? And do I want to not necessarily just swap lives with them, but do I want to take their advice as concrete? Then you'll realize a lot of stuff that you believe, you don't even know where the fuck you got it from. You don't know if you got it from online. You don't know if you got it from a person that you care about. You don't know where the fuck you got it from. And that's a problem with that. So if you really test, where am I getting this information that is coming across to me? Am I in a situation where that person has my best interest? Are you in a situation where your communication skills and your information upon what you're studying is so high that no matter your age, you don't see it as a constraint? I hear people that ask about my age and they're like, bro, you have three units at fucking 20 years old. And I think to myself, bro, if I wouldn't have been such a bitch about it when I first started, I would have had my first unit when I was 19. Like, be able to say, hey, I got my first house at 19. Yeah, these houses are more inexpensive, but it's not necessarily just the money aspect of being like, oh, I got it, but also the information and the energy to actually go and take action upon it. Because there's some people that could buy houses at 18, but do they? No, because one, they're probably scared. Two, they're probably dumb, or three, they're ignorant. So I would say if you ever have anything to dial in on is one, getting the information, getting a mentor, getting someone that's not that necessarily far ahead of you. So you be in a situation where you're in the passenger, they're in the driver, and you swap seats eventually and you still have them. You need to have your high income skill to be in a position where you either are making consistent income with a W-2 or you have your own business, just so when these expenses come up on the real estate, because not real estate investment, because it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You have that cash, you have that income, you have access to credit. If you can learn how to not only have your high income skill but manage credit, you'll be fucking golden. I believe in this world, if you're a man if you're a man in this world and you have credit, your word, and some balls, there is no fucking thing on the planet that you cannot do. I genuinely believe that. And I'm a living proof of it. I started my first video business with no money. I was working in a restaurant, put myself in credit card debt on a business credit card for 0% interest, had 12 months, figured it the fuck out, made money. After I made that money, I went to Section 8, got my first rental, 50-50 business, 50-50 business credit, 50-50 cash. But all I really had was the skill set, my word, some fucking balls with credit as a cherry on the top. So dial in on your credit. If you're 18 watching this video, try to get 3 open accounts or even more, some multiple credit cards, build your history, buy trade lines, stack your bread. Don't worry about the fact that you're young. The only thing constraint that you have is a 21 cosign, but if you have someone that can cosign, you'll be fine. You can work with some lenders that are 18 regulations. If you're W-2, but you want to buy under DSCR, or you might need to have prior rental experience. You could either get, pay a utility bill, be in a situation where you pay your own rent for 2 years or for a year, for 12 months. But the only constraint you'll have is that on your age and the amount of action you want to take. I also see that as a young individual investing into real estate, helping people do the same thing, running my video business here and there. Well, not here and there, but not as much as this was within a year. Is that when people hear that you're young, they genuinely feel like they want to help you out more. And people think that it's actually the opposite. If you can prove the competence, you can prove the skill set, you can prove the knowledge, you can prove the action, you can prove the integrity, you can prove the fucking hunger in your eye, people will help you more. They will, because they see it's a young hustler. They see that they wish they started that young. They started when they were that young. There are so many things that you don't even know are going to happen in your benefit because you never actually take action on the initial to be in a position where that benefit could actually help you out. So I would say, to recap this video, is one, do not be afraid to fucking throw money and fuck around and find out. Generally, do not be afraid to fuck around and find out. When you are not scared to fuck around and find out, sometimes you fuck around and find out on something that's better than you could have even imagined. So get your high income skill, get your W-2 that's solid, reinvest every single fucking dollar. Like if you're a 20-year-old dude, you're 19, you really don't need much to fucking to survive, bro. Like I could probably survive off fucking $1,000 a month because I really don't buy shit. So having a high income skill, really invest every single dollar you have. Learn how to use credit. You can use credit to fucking finance a house completely. In Ohio, in landlord-friendly states, that you use a DSCR loan. I'm in the process of helping someone do that. That'll be the craziest case study once it drops. And not having limitations on your age, but realizing it's actually a benefit. Your age is a benefit, it's not a limitation. If you have the right perspective upon it, it's actually something that will help you so much because people want to help you out, seeing that you're so young and you're taking initiative and action on things that they wish they did when they were younger, or they did when they were younger, so they respect you for doing something that they know is not easy to do. So don't look around your situation, see no one else is doing it at your age. I think that's all there is in the world. I know I have mentors that fucking have 150 units at 24. So at 20, they already had 5, 10, 15, 30. So it's never too early, but you'll never feel like, oh, I did this too early. Sometimes you'll feel, oh, I did this too late. But it's never too late, but sometimes you'll feel like it was too late. So you'd rather be on the position where it feels early, it's uncomfortable, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you're in a situation where after the fact, you're like, look, I'm glad I did it this early. Instead of, why did I do it so late? Because I never got to experience the benefits. I'm leaving to Ecuador this coming month, actually in 5 days from now, and I'll have passive income from the Section 8 rentals paying me while I'm over there. And I have my business that I can work remotely from that, funds that lifestyle. But I got multiple rentals before I was even old enough to celebrate with a drink. So it's all a matter of perspective. I think everything is the way that you see it and the way that it actually can't be with the right perspective. What I mean by that is that looking at your age as something that can benefit you, not something that can handicap you, will end up being true in its fruition if you take the right action upon it and actually view yourself as someone that benefits from that, young age and ability to fail. Be okay with failing, because just like, you're knocking on doors in terms of, going to sell door to door as an example. If you know your numbers, after 50 door knocks, I'll get 5 yeses. When it comes to 45 no's and you have 5 next doors to knock, you'll know they're all gonna be yeses, because you dialed in, you've taken the L's. And sometimes I panic if everything's going too perfect. I kind of get worried. I say, what am I doing that is making everything work so smooth? And when you think about it in that perspective, it really opens your eyes to the fact that you might be in a situation where everything's going to fall, like everything's going to crumble. Because when you're taking that action and you're preparing for the worst, but you're hoping for the best, sometimes it'll turn out worse, but you're prepared for it, or sometimes it'll turn out better, but you're in a situation where it works for you like that. So what I would say in this video is take as much action as you can. Don't be limited by your age. It's actually a benefit to you. And also be in a situation where you realize that the more money that you have access to, the more money you can borrow, the more money you can make. If you could borrow credit, borrow funding, liquidate, go buy houses, you could do that. You can start your own business. The money you make, don't blow it on stupid shit, because some people do that. I wouldn't do it. I haven't done that. But be in a position where you literally don't go and increase your expenses by a ton. Don't go and buy some fucking high-rise crib, pay some rent you can't afford. So live the life that no one else wants to live in terms of the hard work, so you can live the life that no one else has in terms of the benefit. I still live at home, stacking rentals, boom, 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 boom. Like, I could go and buy an apartment and then be fucking struggling once a month. What makes more sense, So I hope you guys can understand this raw video in terms of shit that I've been through, so that's going on, the raw reality, what it is. Obviously, I've just turned 20 years old, so there's still a lot more for me to live, but there's a lot more to talk about as I continue to grow. But I hope this can help out, give a different perspective, get a better understanding of like what I've gone through. Not only necessarily in terms of business, but people trying to stink you because of your age, like disrespect, like getting disrespected, people saying it's too young. Fuck them. Whatever you think on your mind, it'll be a reality if you just implement step by step, and you're not gonna know what the hell you're doing, but you fuck around and find out, everything will turn out to be better than you ever imagined. So, you have any specific questions of anything I just said, just comment down below, shoot me a DM on Instagram. But I appreciate you watching, and be on the lookout for more content. We're over here in LA for the day, so I'm recording some more content here, but appreciate y'all.